5 investments you need to make in 2022 so you never have to work again. Did you know that California is home to 44% of all millennial millionaires in the United States? You're undoubtedly wondering whether they moved to California after becoming millionaires or before. When you look at what's going on, however, the solution is obvious. Because Silicon Valley is a hotbed of invention and companies, it's no surprise that young, smart people flock to the state to compete for the most lucrative tech positions. Here, software programmers can easily earn several $100,000. That is not, however, what makes them rich. Employees are typically compensated with stock options by their companies. If you work at Google and are a talented employee, for example, they won't want you to leave. The human mind is at the heart of invention and growth. So the easiest way to keep you working for them is to pay you with stock. If you work for the company for 3, 5, or 10 years, you will receive a set quantity of stock. After a year or two, you decide to shift jobs and work for Zuck, who has changed the company's name to Meta. You simply cannot, because your options will expire if you quit. You must stay until the conclusion of your contract to use that option. That's what makes them millionaires in the first place. In fact, paying employees with shares is tax deductible, so everyone benefits. These stocks are created out of thin air by the corporation. They are tax deductible and they are valuable, making these gifted individuals wealthy. It's a win-win situation for everyone. However, wealth accumulation in a single city or state or in the hands of a limited group of people is not uncommon. The wealthiest 1% of the population owns 43.4% of the world's wealth. The Pareto principle is evident in every circumstance. But what we want to talk about in this video is what investments you need to make to be into the top 1%. What industries will be the most influential in the future? And where should you put your money in order to never work again? All of these and many more will be addressed. But first, give this video a thumbs up and read the following disclaimer. Everything discussed in this video is for educational and entertaining reasons only, and it is not financial advice. Number 1. Climate tech. Oil as we know it was found in the late 1800s, and it has literally transformed the globe since then. It resulted in the development of automobiles, vehicles, planes, and rockets. It resulted in the country's largest infrastructure project, the highways, which transformed the entire country. In fact, oil was the commodity that made America's first billionaire and the world's richest person a century ago. The importance of this item was rapidly recognized by young John Rockefeller, who quickly began growing his business, thus creating a monopoly in the country. In 1913, his personal fortune amounted to $900 million, or over 3% of the US GDP. He was richer than Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos combined back then, since 3% of US GDP is now $630 billion. As a result, his empire was divided into 34 separate organizations. These businesses persist today and are industry leaders. This business has also affected global geopolitics by making Middle Eastern rulers extremely wealthy. Aramco, a state-owned Saudi firm that controls the country's oil, is worth more than $2 trillion and was once the most valuable company in the world. Oil, on the other hand, is about to run out. Despite the fact that there is still plenty of oil, it has hit its peak in 2019. The current trend, though, is decreasing. Oil will become increasingly expensive to extract, implying that prices will continue to rise, or that oil companies will simply cease to exist. As a result, the need for renewable energy will continue to rise. Furthermore, climate change is a problem that threatens humanity's entire future. The climate technology sector is fueled by these two elements. Renewable technology will shape the next 100 years. just as oil ruled the previous 150. Climate tech startups have raised a total of $32 billion worldwide as of 2021. This number will continue to rise year after year. So if you want to make an investment that can only continue to develop, put your money into this industry. Number 2. Healthcare. What happened in 2020 was predictable. Pandemics have occurred throughout history, with the most recent one taking place in 1918. It was a complete disaster. However, as technology advanced so quickly in the last century, life expectancy increased as well. We recognized that if we took better care of ourselves, we could easily live for another 80, 90, or even 100 years. If you were lucky, you could live past the age of 50 a century ago. Now, life begins at 50, and the year 2020 was a warning that if we stop focusing on our health, everything we have accomplished might be lost in the blink of an eye. However, that is only one side of the tale. The other is that we can develop technology that will allow us to live longer. For a long time, mRNA, for example, was thought to be a hoax. However, Moderna came in and developed the first mRNA vaccine, which does not require injecting the real virus, but only enough to produce comparable cells. We can make medications faster, better, and cheaper using this technology. Anyone who put money into Moderna since then has made a lot of money. Biotech firms, on the other hand, are relatively new. There's Vertex, Roche, and Pfizer. Of course, betting on just one of these firms is dangerous. But you can try the Vanguard Healthcare ETF, or VHT. It literally owns stock in the world's most well-known biotech firms, including Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and others. Number 3. VTI. When people talk about ETFs, they usually refer to the S&P 500, but it's not the only one available. Companies in the S&P 500 are excellent, but they are not the only ones in the country. In 2019, the United States has 32.5 million enterprises, with thousands of them listed on the stock market. So you want to profit from the entire economy, not just the top 500 companies. Even Tesla joined the S&P 500 very recently, and there are tons of great companies that aren't on it. The VTI ETF tries to mimic the composition of the US equities market, offering a low-cost, broadly diversified, low-turnover portfolio. It covers the whole investable stock market in the United States. It charges a minimal cost, making it ideal for long-term investments. It's one of my favorite exchange-traded funds. Number 4. REITs. Since I was a teenager, I've worked in the real estate industry. It's one of the industries that I adore, especially because it generates consistent income flow. You have complete control over it, and it continues to send you paychecks. Of course, some management is required, but it is controllable to some extent. However, not everyone appreciates it. A property entails ongoing issues. You must locate tenants. When anything breaks, you must repair it, pay taxes, refurbish it, and a million other things. It takes a lot of time. The fact that real estate values continue to rise is what makes it so social. They will eventually bounce back, even if they crash. Take the 2008 real estate catastrophe for example. Prices have not only returned to where they were, but have increased dramatically since then. So how do you invest in real estate without having to acquire anything? REITs are the answer. REITs are publicly listed real estate investment trusts that own and operate properties. By investing in an REIT, you are indirectly investing in real estate. But it's the fact that there are REIT ETFs like VNQ that invest in several REITs that I find most appealing. Number 5. Online learning. With the rise of the internet, education has been more broadly available, particularly through sites like Khan Academy, Skillshare, and others. We should have switched to online learning years ago, but we didn't. As a result, the year 2020 drove the entire world to transition to online education, and it appears that this market will boom in the following decade or so. You may now access virtually any material on the internet, learn anything from YouTube, and master any skill from your favorite blogger. There are a variety of ways to invest in this industry. Of course, traditional methods exist, like as publicly traded education corporations or exchange-traded funds focusing on the sector. If you are talented enough at anything, you can even break into this industry on your own. However, I like startups in this field because it is rapidly growing and has enormous potential. With all these new tools, such as virtual reality, I am almost certain that education will look very different in 20 years. If you like this video, you'll love this special playlist I made just for you, which includes some of our most popular videos that have the ability to alter your life. And now, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up that it deserves, and remember to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.